So guys, here we are. I'm introducing my brand new podcast, Contact Point, and I'm really, really excited. Those of you that know me will know that I love podcasts. I love listening to them. I love being on other people's podcasts. And previously I had my own podcast, One Small Change, that was focused on the small changes that we can make to live more fulfilling and enjoyable lives. And that was very intentionally not a dental podcast. I had amazing guests like Matt Willis from Busted and Paul Brunson, Dan Murray-Serter from the startup world, Richard Badu, the male model. We had a few dentists in there, Miguel, Christian, Rona, but it was primarily a non-dentist, non-dental podcast. Contact Point is very, very different. We are at such an exciting point in dentistry right now. Things are changing faster than ever, and who knows what the next 10 years have in store for our profession. And I felt like I really wanted to create something to put down on camera the thoughts that I've been having, speak to people that I'm interested in learning from about how do we make our way through all of this? How do we decipher what is signal from noise? How do we benefit and get the most out of this incredible opportunity when there's so much negativity and noise around the changes that we're seeing? So that's why I created Contact Point. I thought the name Contact Point was really quite apt for what we're trying to do here. We're looking to explore and interview the people and ideas that are shaping the next decade of dentistry. And the contact point, obviously, as dentists, we know is that crucial point where two items collide, two ideas maybe, or two different ways of thinking. And so for me, I thought Contact Point really represented this very visual first podcast format and idea environment that we want to create. And when I was thinking about my ideas around this podcast, what I wanted it to stand for, I was drawn to three main quotes. And I love quotes. I love stoicism. I love ancient or philosophy that's lasted a test of time. And so the three quotes are from different parts of the world. So we have a Stoic quote from thousands of years ago. We have a evolutionary quote from slightly more recently, maybe 100 years or so ago. And then we have a quote from Silicon Valley, so very much more modern. And I want to run through those three with you now and give you an insight into what's going on in my mind when I'm considering all of this change and why it's such an exciting time to be involved in the dental profession. So the first one is my favorite quote. You may well have heard me talk about this before, but it's a quote from Seneca, who's a Stoic philosopher. And the quote says, "If a man knows not to which port he's sailing, no wind is favorable." And I think direction at the moment is so important. With social media and the inbound attention drawing softwares and platforms and news outlets that are constantly vying for our attention and trying to take us away from our focus, there's never been a more important time for us really to be concentrating on why are we doing what we're doing? Are the things that we're saying yes to taking us closer to where we want to go, both personally and professionally? And I've always been very clear in my own mind as to what my direction is. I've always said that in dentistry, I see a lot of people following the crowd, doing something because everyone else is doing that, and they think, therefore, that that's the right thing to do. And actually, most of the success I've experienced in my career has been from going really in the opposite direction to the way that everyone else is and following my own path. That's not being contrarian just for the sake of it, but actually just being true to what my own values are and what my own direction is. And that has always put me in good stead. And so I think at the moment, as I say, this directionalism and this focus in a different direction is something that's really, really important. And you'll see that with a lot of the guests that we're going to have on. They tend to be individuals who are doing something very different, whether that be in education or in technology or in the way that they're doing dentistry. They're working in a way or in an environment that is distinctly different from that of the norm. And I think at the end of the day, if we don't follow what our own heart and mind is telling us, then we're doing ourselves and actually our patients in many ways a disservice. So that quote from Seneca always sticks with me. I think about it a lot. The art of saying no, I think, is something that's really, really important. And saying no to things that actually don't bring you closer to whatever your goals may be. So that's the first quote that I wanted to talk to you guys about, and that has been sort of a big part of my guest selection, my sponsor selection, and the people that I'm working with on this project, which I'm really, really excited about. The next quote is one from evolutionary science. It's from Charles Darwin, or at least it's attributed to Charles Darwin. I don't know if this exact quote came from him, but it's based on his work. And it basically says, it's not the strongest nor the most intelligent that survives. It's those that are most adaptable to change. And that, I think, has never been more important right now than it has been certainly in my lifetime. Things are changing so fast. Technology has led to this exponential change in our environment, and we have to adapt. And if we bury our heads in the sand, I always use the example of Blockbuster or Kodak, even BlackBerry or Nokia. If you don't adapt to the modern technology, you will be left behind. And it doesn't matter how good you are in your era. Blockbuster had the chance to buy Netflix for £50 million or $50 million many, many years ago. They turned it down, and I think Netflix is now valued at 300 billion or something stupid like that. So, and Blockbuster obviously no more. So we have to adapt, and I know change can be scary. And obviously, the more entrenched you are in the way that you've always done things, the harder it is to change. Change can be scary. It can feel like it's a huge mountain to climb. And actually, one of the things that I want to do with this podcast is to help decipher through all of the noise, all of the new technologies. It's the reason why I finish every episode with what I call fad or future, asking the guests to tell me what they think to be the future of dentistry, or what they think is actually a fad, and maybe there's too much attention given to something that doesn't deserve it. Because there's so much change, it's really important to be considered in your decisions and make sure that it's not all marketing noise, it's not all hype. Actually, it's something that really is going to make a meaningful impact to your clinical practice or to your business. And we're really lucky. There's so much new technology, new materials, new techniques, new ways of thinking, new mindsets, which we're going to dive into in this podcast, whether that be AI or robotics, biological dentistry, airway dentistry, looking at really just vastly different ways of doing things. And they're not all going to be completely in alignment with me, but we're going to bring those guests onto the podcast. We're going to have the conversations, and we're going to talk about it. And I think dialogue and open communication is so important in our profession. I think we need to be open to change. And that, I think, brings me on nicely to my final quote, which, as I mentioned at the start, is from Silicon Valley. And it says, strong opinions loosely held. And this is something that really sits with me on a regular basis. And it's something that I pride myself on. I'm a very passionate person. I'm a very curious person. At the moment, I'm completely obsessed with AI. I'm imbibing knowledge through podcasts and social media and blog posts, and I'm actually embarking on some training with an AI coach next week. And I'm very, very curious about new things, and I take great passion in that. And I've got strong opinions, much to my wife's annoyance sometimes. But I never hold on to them too tightly. And I think that's the really, really important thing. If I have new information that becomes available to me, I'm not afraid to change my mind on something, whether that be techniques that I'm using, tools that I'm using, political views. It's obviously not the focus of this podcast, but I'm always open to new information, new technology, changing the way that I look at things. And so I think that's really, really important. And that's why I'm going to be bringing on guests that have quite contrarian views, because I want to hear different ways of thinking about things. And actually, you can take little bits from different people. You don't have to wholeheartedly believe in one way of doing things and not take anything from another side. You can be more traditional in your views on something, but take little bits. And hopefully through this podcast, we will help you to decipher, to learn, to become aware of different ways of doing things. And that is going to enhance and improve the way that you work in your own practice as a dental professional. Those are the three focuses that I've had in terms of the guests that I've reached out to. I'm very fortunate that I've got a great connection with both the industry leaders, so CEOs of big tech companies, AI companies, printer companies, people that are really moving the world in a commercial way, but also the clinicians that are implementing these things on the ground, DSO leaders in clinical skill, people that are radically changing the way that dentistry is being done around the world. And we're going to be filming all of these podcasts in person where possible, primarily here in our little studio, but also we're going to be going out on location around the world. And wherever I am, I'm going to try and connect with inspiring individuals. And we've already got people planned from Cape Town to Lisbon to Madrid to LA. And we're going to fill in the blanks all the way through. If you guys want to hear from anyone in particular, then please do reach out to me on Dr. Simon Chard on any of the socials. And I really hope this podcast offers you some great value. I really am, as I say, so excited about the opportunity that we have in dentistry. I see so much negativity, so much noise, so much bad press about this and that. And really, there's never been a more exciting time to be a dentist. So I really hope you love this podcast. I look forward to having you guys along for the ride.